Well, it's still raining here in the Great Northwest. I'm Dorothy Wilhelm, and I have an exciting show for you on the Swimming Upstream Radio Show. Now, you heard that water at the beginning. That was the rain. It rains here a lot. But we have an entertaining program for you today on the Swimming Upstream Radio Show. And my special guest is Terri Thal, and you've met her before. She's been with us as the author of My Greenwich Village, Dave, Bob, and Me. Now she has joined us today as a writer about people getting older. No, a writer about getting older, not people. And she has a brand new project to introduce. I'm going to turn the show over to her. Pretty much, I'm not going to be able to turn it all over because I just can't do that. I can't. But you know. But anyway, here is my friend Terri. Hi there. Glad to have you here.
Hey, I am thrilled to be here, and I thank you. And this came out of some conversations that we had about because we both are. And I am old. I am must be old. So this new project came out of something that I read about by somebody who wrote about her women in her family getting stuck. The men went out and they worked and they made friends, and the women just didn't know what to do. They brought up their families, and that was it. And they wanted to do other things maybe, but she didn't even know about it. And it made me think about my family and the women who got stuck, and the fact that this is 2025 and a lot of women are still stuck. So what we want to do, what I want to do, what Dorothy wants to do, is help women get unstuck, especially women over 50 who find it harder than women over 20. And that's what this is all about. This is really, you can change your life. And
Well,
Dorothy and I both are examples of people who did that.
Well, let's say now, what is the project? What are you calling this project?
We are calling this 50 and just getting started.
And I like that a lot. And I think, getting stuck, yes, many people are stuck. However, what is the standout feature of 50, I think, is that the kids are raised. The kids are gone. Everybody we know, the kids are not little kids anymore. So you have to find, well, what do I do now? What do I do? That's the age at which I went into broadcasting. I was 50. So we are going to have a lot of fun. We've got a lot of people to introduce. We're going to give you, we hope, some ideas that you can hop right in on, and tell them a little bit more about how we're going to get started.
Well, we're going to talk to Regina, who reinvented herself, and who is an incredible woman. And we're going to talk to other people, but not today. Today
it's
Regina to tell us what happened.
What?
All the things that happened.
Let's look at this another way. What I would like to know, and remember, she has a last name. This is Regina Carey, and Gina has been my producer before dear Jason came to join us. Gina had been the producer, and she still is. She's the in-house producer. He's the out-house producer. Anyway, we've been, so to be fair, Gina and I have been friends. It's one of those cases where my best friends I've never met in person. Now we've at least had the chance to get together a time or so, but we've had a lot of time to think over what we do and what we would like to do. And Gina, I've seen a big change. You might tell Terri, because she hasn't gotten to see it, in what you were doing when we first met and what you're doing now, which is pretty stupendous. 50 words or less.
Oh, holy moly.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Dorothy. I came into the pandemic only a year or so after I decided to launch my own business. And like many people, was turned upside down. I made the decision to get unstuck, and promptly my husband got cancer, and one of my kiddos went into rehab for an addiction.
Oh,
And
wow.
so life was turned upside down, and I had a choice, and I chose to keep showing up and learn as much as I could learn. And so I think that while we think about this time of life where the kids are gone, I wish that were my case. I keep chickens at home, but we we really are at a point where we have things to say. We've stayed quiet long enough, and it's time to get out in the world and really stand on our own 2 feet, not there as a wife, mother, a volunteer, an employee. And so I pivoted like everybody else, but only because I had seen my mother reinvent her life time after time after time. And so I knew it could be done.
That's exciting. What did your mother do?
Well, she quit college to marry my father because her mother told her she just needed to go to school to find a man. And she got married and had a baby and had a baby and had a baby, and then decided after 3 kids to go back to school and get her degree, which she did.
Oh.
And I remember her doing her very first speech, and she was so nervous. This was for college. And so we set up the whole living room with stuffed animals, and I coached her as a middle schooler. I coached her through her first speech. And then my father died, and she was a widow at 50. Got cancer. She got cancer and went into remission after 2 years of chemotherapy, and continually reinventing. And again, she kept showing up. She knew. I remember her telling us when she had cancer, and she said, "Don't worry, I intend to live." And she did for another 25 years. So
That's incredible. That really is. And the the whole idea that you're finished at some point is just so absurd because you're not. And there are women who are stuck at home, and then there are women who are stuck in jobs that they hate or they're unhappy with, or they were told that. I mean, when I was a kid, my mother, who had worked and was a really smart lady, but back then she never even was able to tell her boss that she had gotten married because he would have fired her. And he thought she was wonderful, which she was. I mean, as but it was a secret. That was a long time ago. But and now there are women. When I was a kid, it was you became a secretary or a nurse, maybe a teacher, maybe a teacher.
A manicurist.
Yeah, Dorothy, you would remember that.
I lived that. Yes, I did it. But as I said, the other option was you could be a manicurist.
You could be a manager. And I chose something else. I did go to college. I graduated from college. Um, I became part of the world of social justice when I was in college. I sought out social justice organizations. I wanted to be part of that. I did my first march when I was 17, and that was unusual. I was a sophomore in college, and then I tumbled into folk music, and I discovered the folk music world, and I wound up being very, very much part of it. And then I married a folks I lived with, and then married a folk singer. And one day he said to me, "Be my manager." And it sounded like a lot more fun than graduate school. So I became a folk music manager. And that didn't exactly thrill my parents. They were not very happy about that. It was
Any of us thrill our parents. It's okay. It's,
Some people did, I guess.
Well, some people do their life based on what their parents tell them. I just met a 50-something woman at a retreat I went to, and she had been practicing law for, I don't know, 30 years. And she said, I didn't even want to be a lawyer. What?
Yeah, I've met
Said,
people.
yeah,
Yeah.
her parents were, and so they expected she would.
so, Terri, how are you thinking this project will work? What will we do and what will we see happen?
Well, I think we'd like to talk to a lot of people like Regina and like us who remade themselves, who decided I am not going to be stuck and said I can do it. And I don't come from a rah-rah world. My family was not rah-rah, very positive people. I think it was very much negative. But we know that emotional steadiness and money sense and judgment all increases well into our midlives. In a lot of ways, we're incredibly smarter in midlife than we were when we were 20. We're emotionally much more grown. So, what we want to do, I think, is bring to the attention of the people who we hope become part of this show. And we really want it to be a participatory show, to take a look and say, you can do it, I can do it, this is what I did, this is what other people did, here's a path, here are some techniques, here is some goodwill, here is some cheer, here is some enthusiasm. And
And even here is some permission. Here's permission. Do it.
Yeah, exactly. You can do it. Give yourself permission.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a big part of what we want. We want to hear from people. We want people to be in touch. We want them to come here. We want to introduce them. We want to talk to them. I'm really kind of I'm excited about it.
Well, let's try a little something. Let's give Gina a chance to tell us what she's done with her business in the last 3 years. I've seen a big change in the way you're handling it and the way it is working. And then we will show people how we would like them to follow up on it. What do you think of that?
That's great.
Okay, Gina, to explain the differences I've seen.
Yes, thank you. I think that you would do that so much better than I would. But the reality is, when I came into my own business, the work that I've really been doing my whole career as an educator, I wanted to please everybody. I wanted to say yes to everything. So I was initially very scattered, told myself I didn't know anything about running my own business. And how was I going to make this work? And eventually, with the support of education, I, got into networking groups. Dorothy and I became Zoom producers together. We learned about the tools that we needed during the pandemic, during this time of confusion and chaos. And what we learned is, when you are consistent, you don't have to have all the ducks in a row, but if you show up every day and do a little bit, say a little bit, share a little bit, that people begin to trust you. People begin to know you. They might even like you. And when that happens, then all things start to blossom. And so along the course of this, I've learned to take advice from my dear friend Dorothy and listen to what she has to say. And she's very blunt about things. And so no nonsense, and you can take it or you can go and cry in the corner. But I decided to take it. And then getting a coach of my own, I finally decided that if I was going to be a coach out in the world, that I needed one of my own. And a coach really helped me hone in on what I enjoy the most in this business and what I could leave to other people to do. And so I do executive coaching and leadership training, speaking, which I love, and also groups. I work with a lot of women in 6 and 9 month groups to help them through a transformation. Because, it does take time.
Yes.
And people think that they can just flip a switch, take a pill, do a podcast, learn something, and that their life is somehow magically going to change. And we know that's not reality. Those tiny changes, neuroplasticity, encouragement from other people, it takes all of that to get to the place you want to be. So yeah. And I've been in this place for 25 years. I never thought I would be in one place for 25 years because we were an academic family. Get some education, move. Get more education, move. I had a kid in every state that we lived in. And yeah, one in North Carolina, one in Wisconsin, and one in Michigan. And when you finally look around and say, oh, I better start doing something. I think I'm going to stick around here. This idea of bloom where you're planted,
Yes,
finally took place. So,
well, that's wonderful. Terri, let's ask Gina.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Let's ask Gina what for a couple of hints, a couple of things, because we want to give active hits every show. So what's a couple of things you can tell us to do, and we might do it. Chances aren't good, but we might.
I can use an example right from a training that I came from this morning. When I asked the people at the end of the training, how are you going to take action on this? What are you going to do when you leave this space? And some women said, I'm going to work on trying to, and I said, what are you going to do? And when people talk about wanting to get balance in their lives, I said, all right, that means going to your calendar. And if you drill down even more, that means putting things on your calendar that include you, that include your family, that include your business. If you want balance, you have to get it in your calendar. So one of the things that I learned early on is I either pay to learn or I'm paid to learn. And I'd much rather get paid to learn. But we do make mistakes in business, and we cannot let those mistakes derail us. And so in your calendar or coming out of your wallet, that's one big step. Commit.
Excellent.
That's important, and taking advice is important, and
writing it on the whiteboard is important.
Writing it on the whiteboard is important. I've watched you do that, and I've learned. Actually, I have learned from you to do that. I sit and I scroll notes. I scroll notes in my notebooks. I have a million notebooks, but I can't read them. My handwriting is gone, and those short things that are good. And I learned to use my calendar fairly recently so that everything's on it. I can't keep it in my head anymore.
That's great. Your head is quite nice as it is. So we are down to 5 minutes now, believe it or not. So I love that. She expressed dismay. That was good. What we need now is to let people know how. If they want to know more about the project, we'll be working on it on our next show as well. But if you want to get in touch with Terri, how should they do it, Terri?
I have an email, and it's very long. I'm sorry, but I couldn't shorten it. It's 50 and just getting started at gmail.com. It's the title of what we hope will be a show, and it's 50 and just getting started at gmail.com.
And is the and written out, Terri? Is it A-N-D?
Now, all words, not an and, nothing. 50 and just getting started at gmail.com.
And Terri, we'll ask Jason to put that on the end of the show too on the screen so that people can find it.
Thank you. And I just want to make one point, because Dorothy did, about reinvention. I was 82 years old when I wrote this.
Yes.
That's me and the guy I managed and was married to, and that's Bob Dylan, who was a very good friend who I managed for several months back then. And the book came out just 3 years ago. That was Reinvention.
Yes.
And here is your email is up on the screen now. 50 and just getting started. See, he's good.
And the show and writing about older women is another reinvention. And I'm 86, and this is what we're doing. And Dorothy is even older. And
I'm 92. I'm fine. I'm doing good.
Brilliantly.
Well, let's say, we want to see everybody as much as possible every month. Well, it'll end up being weekly, but we don't just want you to see us, because now you've seen us and pretty much this is it. Except Regina, she's doing better all the time. Don't know Terri that well, but I want to tell you, nobody changes that much. So you pretty much see what you're going to get. But we want your involvement. Write to Terri. Let her know what you'd like to hear about. Let her know what questions you have. Let her know what's keeping you from getting unstuck. And we'll see who you'd like to have on the air. We'll see what we can do. Terri, my dear, take us home, as they say in the business.
And if you would like to be a guest, if you know somebody who has changed, who can talk about possibility and reality, please let us know. And we're going to have a guest every single show. So I thank you, Dorothy, and I thank you, Regina. And Dorothy, I am so grateful for the possibility of doing this. I think it's wonderful.
It's fun. And we'll do more, and we'll have more fun, because there's no point doing anything that isn't fun.
That's right. That's right. We're all smiling.
Exactly.
Gina, say a final word for us, Gina. I see that's different. I didn't.
Well, you know what? You're an adult now, and you've got options. So let's use them. Make it a strong day.
Okay. Well, we got through the rain. We got through the first episode of our wonderful program. We're going to, as the old saying used to be on Grand Ole Opry, I'm going to head for the barn now, because these shoes are killing me. This is Dorothy Wilhelm, and I'll see you next time on Swimming Upstream Radio Show.